You know what I mean?
Yep.
Is there any way that we can think about making time go faster? Because I'm guilty all the time of clock watching, and I want the hours to go by. But it's always like my dinner breaks go dead fast, and when I'm working, it seems to drag.
Yeah, this is an interesting idea. But what they say is to make time go faster. Time passes quickly when you're in a state of absorption, which is when you're focusing on something or thinking about something else. Like, for instance, when you're on a long train journey or something, if you listen to music or you get engrossed in a book, it makes time go faster. So what you need to do is to probably find something that just takes your mind off what you're doing.
Well, I can't really do that work. I get the sack.
Well, what I did, funnily enough, I used to years ago. I used to make pallets when I was between school and university, and I used to make pallets knocking nails in wood. And to pass the time, I used to play a cricket game, and every time I hit the nail in the wood and it went straight in, that was a run. And if I hit it and I bent it, that was a wicket. And it got me through 8 hours. So what you need to do is to try and find games that just takes your mind off the fact that time is dragging.
But the fact that I work on a ship, and you said something about heat makes the hours last longer, because I work in an engine room on a ship.
Ah, right.
Right, so you know what I mean? That was very interesting what you said.
And did that work? Did that happen for you? Can you remember?
Well, I don't know. Until you just said it, I didn't realise. But obviously I can't change my job because it's hot in the engine room. But I work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And it seems like we're all the lads on the ship, we're wishing our lives away.
Well, it's because everything's become so familiar, isn't it? You know, because it's like when you're on holiday, the first week seems to really be slow, and then you get used to it, and it gets the second week bombs by, and that's because you've got used to it. And it becomes repetitious, and it becomes boring, and the brain slows down because it's looking for stimulation.
Right.
You know, and that's
I'm not stimulated enough. Then I want the chief engineer if he's listening.
Yeah, you need stimulation. I don't know how we get round this for you, but I'm sure we could try.
All right, Andy. Thanks for your help.
Okay, cheers.
What time is it now?
It's 26 minutes past 3. Thanks, Andy. Don Gibson's on. There's a fine name for you. Hello, Don.
It is indeed. Right, no flippant remarks from you, Billy.
Not at all.
The last guy who's just been on, I thought he was a bit flippant, but this is dead serious, and I'm a Liverpoolian, and it's football. Right, about 30 years ago, Liverpool had a fantastic team, and Billy remembers these times.
Yep.
I went to bed one night, and I dreamt that I was walking in the house with the dog, like I do every night, went in the back kitchen, put the wireless on to get the scores, and the voice on the radio was saying, we're going over to Villa Park, where half-time the score is Aston Villa 5, Liverpool 0, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I went into work next day and I told a mate of mine, an Evertonian, and he said, I wish. Anyway, it must have been a couple of months later, the dream had gone out my mind. And I was coming in the house with the dog, I knew there was a game on, walked into the back kitchen, put the radio on, and the guy was saying, we're coming up to half time at Villa Park, where the score is Aston Villa 5, Liverpool 0. And I went cold because I thought, this is beyond, probability. It's not just a guesswork. It's nothing just similar or near enough. This has happened. I dreamt this a couple of months ago.
That is very intriguing.
But that never happened in real life, did it?
It did.
What was the final score?
If you want to get on the internet, find Aston Villa playing a Villa, Liverpool playing a Villa, it'll be about 1976 or 1980 maybe. They had a great team, and at half-time they were getting beat 5-0.
Wow.
And I think a fella called Gibson had scored a hat-trick. I'm not sure about that, but I know it was half-time 5-0.
I'm an Evertonian. You think that'd stick in my mind, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
well, hey, you're letting the side down, Billy.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Look on the internet and you'll find
I'm sure you're right. And you actually... well, that's not time standing still. That's deja vu.
No, that is. I don't know if you heard the show last week, but we were discussing deja vu, and I'm planning to do a show in the future, ironically enough, on precognition, and that effectively is both a kind of a dream precognition and possibly a dream deja vu. In that there's a theory that says that a deja vu is really you remembering a dream you've had, and you start to relive the dream in reality. Now, what is fascinating about your particular case is that in my books I deal with exactly this kind of subject. What you're talking about now is absolutely central to what I'm saying in my ideas, theories and hypothesis about the nature of consciousness, because that is evidence of the fact that you remembered that scoreline. It seems like it was a precognition, but it was a remembering. And it was so vivid to you and so powerful, you've remembered it from the time you last lived your life. And I know that sounds very odd, but if you're interested, I'm talking at Liverpool Central Library on Wednesday at 2:30, and this is one of the subjects I'm going to be dealing with, because yours is a fantastic case here. Now, what I'd like to suggest is, if you can get details off the web, my website, I'd be delighted if you were willing to put that on there, because that's a classic example. And if you're
not on the computer.
Oh, don't worry. We can find ways of getting in contact. But it'd be wonderful if your friend who you spoke to, you had the opportunity, if he had the opportunity to reinforce the story as well.
I've left that. I'm well retired. I'm 74.
Oh, right.
He's retired. Where he is, I don't know.
Okay, listen, Don, I've got to get one more call, and we've got your details. I get Tony to ring you after the show, and you can fix something up between you.
Thanks, Don.
But want to get this final caller in, Leo, because we were discussing before off air, Anthony and I, about Anthony also says that when you come near death, time does stand still. And we've often read in books and magazines, haven't we? We've read the phrase, my whole life flashed before me. Well, that would take a period of time, obviously. But time stops sometimes when you have these near-death experiences. I think Leo from Rill has such an incident. Hello, Leo.
Hiya.
Hi, Leo.
You're through to Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Leo.
Yeah. Well, my near-death experiences are I did my national service in the Royal Marines. Yeah, and on this particular occasion, I was climbing a cliff, and I was about 90 foot up, and I came off the cliff, and I was falling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And everything really, really slowed down. But fortunately, I landed on a ledge about 12 foot below. But during that time, everything really, really slowed down. Yeah.
How long do you think, in your own subjective idea of time, how long do you think it was?
Well, it was only a matter of minutes.
Or
seconds, really.
In seconds for the external time, but internal to you, it seemed to take far longer, yeah?
Exactly.
Okay, now, what this is, it's an irony. I did an interview on LBC Radio a few years ago, and somebody came up with exactly the same example. Mm-hmm. And it's people who fall off cliffs and mountain climbers seem to particularly have this time dilation effect, together with people, skydivers, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it seems to be something to do with the brain itself and a particular chemical in the brain called glutamate. Mm-hmm. And in times of stress, it stimulates the brain to such an extent the time slows down. Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is that it's exactly the same chemical that causes the near-death experience sensation as well. So what you were having there, you were so stressed that your brain was working to help it slow down to almost save your life.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've done a skydive as well, and I experienced the same situation.
Ah, thank you. Because you see, this is exactly what vindicates the things I've been saying for the last 2 or 3 years in my books, because I know people like yourself, that really happened to you, don't you? This wasn't an illusion, that was real.
Exactly.
But you could never convince anybody else because people just don't accept it. But you know that it happened, and there's nobody could convince you otherwise. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leo, and we'll get to your details. We'll be with Simon for the sport in just a moment. The only one more thing to say, Tony, before you go and give your details out, that if I really enjoy my job, and I'm sitting next to somebody who doesn't enjoy his job, we still leave work at the same time. Ah,
yes, but you are perceiving the time at different times. In other words, what you feel is happening with time.
So it's perception, though.
It's perception. It's internal. It's what's called psychological internal time, which is different to external clock time. The French have a term, they call it durée, which is, duration, which is slightly different to time.
Okay, your details, Tony, if anybody wants to contact you.
Okay, if anybody's interested, I'm doing a talk on Wednesday afternoon at Liverpool Central Library at 2:30. That is ticketed, so you'll need to get tickets, and they're going quite fast at the moment. If anybody wants to contact me directly, I have a very active website and forum, and you can find my details on www.anthonypeake.com. That's Anthony with an H and Peake, Peake, .com. And Billy was suggesting that probably I call myself Anthony Peakovsky to have more credibility, but at the moment I think I'll stay with plain old Anthony Peake.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, see you.
And thanks.